Hello, world! A wonderful day to all of you. Welcome to the Institute of Global Professionals. Thank you for joining us for another live session of free international webinar here in IGP. My lovely audience, I am Maribeth from the Philippines, and I am honored to be your host of the day. I am so glad to be with you once again in this virtual world. If there is a thing that we should be thankful about during the pandemic period, I think it's the opportunity that it provides for us to gather virtually through this international free webinar brought to us by the Institute of Global Professionals, or IGP. I hope that everyone will stay with us until the end of the program because we have a lot of things in store for you today. Here in IGP webinars, you do not just listen to our speakers, but we encourage your participation through our quiz competition and the Q&A part of the program. In our quiz competition, the top 10 participants will receive their quiz completion certificate. That is right after the event. Then it will be followed by the Q&A part where everyone will have the opportunity to interact with our speakers by sending in your questions in the comment section below. During our live show, there will be questions displayed on your screen. This allow you to interact or share your opinion about the topic being discussed or the topic that has been discussed in our previous sessions. Simply share your idea in the comment section below. Every day during our live session, we award certificate of lifetime membership to the most active and consistent participant of IGP. So what are you waiting for? Share our live event to your friends and to your communities. Write comments and feedback in the comment section. Who knows, you could be the next recipient of this certificate of lifetime membership. And then in the latter part of the program, we will give you the certification code together with the certification process on how you can generate or auto download your e-certificate. Another thing is that although our e-certificate that we are receiving have some issues at the moment, but rest assured that the IGP team is doing its best to address this issue. We will surely update you on IGP's FB page once this issue has been resolved. With this, everybody is still encouraged to stay with us till the end of the program because lots of exciting things awaits us today. I am sure all of us will have many takeaways and payoffs from this webinar. That is only in IGP. I'm proud to tell you that every day many new participants are joining with us, so I am compelled to give you a little background about IGP. The Institute of Global Professionals is an educational institution which provides social work. We believe that it's not effective to increase one's skills by just acquiring formal education. So we provide training and consultation to generate a proficient generation through webinars, trainings, offline and online courses with the best speakers and highly trained coaches from all around the globe just to cater you with the best learning platform. I'm proud to inform you that IGP is an ISO certified training and education institute. We are internationally recognized and globally accredited. IGP is your trusted platform to learn new things from the global leading leaders. We are the leading online skill development institution with thousands of learners worldwide. Our mission is to empower people and enhance their skills through webinars. Most importantly, we are committed to serve. IGP is bringing the community of professionals to grow together and learn from each other. Here in IGP, learning never stops. We wish that you remain with us in this endeavor. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to be associated with IGP as a global member. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome all of you to the Institute of Global Professionals pre-international webinar. Once again, I am Marbeth, a core volunteer of IGP from the Philippines. I am so privileged to host today's event. With this, I would like to say let's watch together and learn together. We believe that the power is gained by sharing knowledge, not by hoarding it. Did you know that as of yesterday, we have already successfully completed 351 webinars in various topics of your interest? All of these are available in our website, that is www.eduigp.com. Again, that's www.eduigp.com. Feel free to access them anytime. We expect that all of you are getting a little bit benefited both in your personal and professional life. From time to time, you may like, share, tag your friends, and write your comments. Share us how you feel about IGP and what do you think about IGP. You may also share us how IGP is being helpful to you both in your personal and professional development. Also, don't hesitate to ask questions or write feedback. You may also give suggestions that will help us innovate the program in the comment section below. All of these will be greatly appreciated. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our Facebook page, Facebook group, and YouTube channel. Make sure to click the bell button below to be notified with our live streaming every day. Please support us by spreading the news about IGP's free international webinar to your friends and to your community. Your support is highly appreciated. Thank you so much. Before proceeding to our program, well, I would like to greet some of our active participants here. Let me check that. Okay, hello to the following people. Sir Romel Hernandez, Sir Philip Villamin, to Merlin Napicol Pundano, Charles Sir Vidal, hello there, to Sir Tofer Satiada, to Sir Romel Hernandez again, and to Katugal Patricia Yvonne, hello there, to Alex Javier Alvarez, hello sir, and then to who else? Erms Rabaja Flores. Hello and greetings to all of you. Who else? To Ana Marie Joy Alcaz. Hello, ma'am. To Jing Binasa and also to Marvic Villanueva. Greetings to you, ma'am. Hello to Lavenia Torio and Dina PS. Who else? We have some Irar Husain Marie. Then we have Rakidor Jessa. Hello to all of you. Greetings to all the active participants of IGP's daily webinar. Happy watching, everyone. Without further ado, let's start the program with the IGP's mantra. That is, feed your skills, innovate, inspire, impact. For today, we are presenting webinar number 352 on overcoming invisible barriers to success. Indeed, we are very much privileged to have with us today two eminent speakers, one from South Africa and another one from India. They are Ambassador Dean Hill from South Africa, and then we also have Engineer Kavita Hadik from India. Our first keynote speaker for today is an engineer, a social worker, and she is the founder of and president of Sacred Light Foundation. At this juncture, I would like to invite on screen our first keynote speaker. Let's welcome her with a round virtual applause. Engineer Kavita Handik from India.
Thank you, Maribeth.
Hello, ma'am.
I'm honored to be here on this platform today. Thank you so much for having me here.
Okay, before you proceed with your presentation, you might probably want to share something about yourself.
Yeah. So I'm from India, staying in Mumbai, Bombay. It was early called Bombay, and now it's Mumbai. And I'm an engineer working in a department where I have to maintain buildings, and so it's a technical kind of a job. But then there was something that I was passionate about, so I wanted to help people with education. So I started my own foundation that is called Sacred Light Foundation. So we are helping the underprivileged children and women to study and do something more in their life.
Well, that's great to hear, ma'am. Okay, would you like to share your screen?
Yeah, just just a minute. Huh?
Okay, just take your time.
Yeah, just a minute, just a minute, just a minute. There is a window. Just a minute.
While waiting from Engineer Calvita, allow me again to
Just
greet
a
some of
minute.
our. Just go
The
on, ma'am. I will be just greeting some of our participants here. Okay,
yeah,
Roldan.
I'm wait.
Hello to Roldan Iquin and also to Marvic Villanueva. Okay, I would like to say hi to Marlon Alfonso and also greetings to Joseph Navales Plazer. Hello there.
Wait.
And Mark Godwin Tamayo. Hello. Also to Joy de los Reyes Licatan. And also to Iris May Garcia. Hello to all of you. Hi to Sorepsen Z. And also to Bernardo R. Guevara Jr. Okay, ma'am, just share your screen.
Yeah, just a minute. Is that visible?
Not yet, ma'am. Okay, it's working, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's
So
visible
it's
now.
visible now. Okay.
Well, the truth is, we can't wait to hear from you, ma'am. So take
Okay.
it
So
away.
here I am going to speak about how we can overcome our barriers which are invisible. So, actually, I would like to say something about this. The barriers to success is not something which exists in real world. That's why they are called invisible, because it's composed purely and simply of doubts about our own ability, about our own about our own capability to do some things that we are capable of, but we are not able to understand that we have these capabilities in ourselves. We keep thinking about so many other things that hold us back. So the barriers actually are not there. They don't exist in real world. That's what I believe. And I've been working towards my um, story, towards my journey of life, and following my goals, believing that my barriers, which were there, actually didn't exist. It was already a part of my system that I developed during maybe during my bringing up, or how I was brought up. So my road to success is like, I think we all often think that money can give us success, or maybe time can give us success, or resources or lack of knowledge are the things that hold us back. Those are the barriers, but I think the real reason that hold us back are actually things that are within us. So they are all the invisible barriers that that reside deep within our own mind, our negative experiences or past experiences that we have been through. And then there are so many beliefs and values that we develop while in a growing stage, in a community, in a society, or during um, our journey as coming out from the schooling part or from the college part. And that's the time when we develop our own values and beliefs and the opinions that the others have for us. Those are the limiting beliefs. And then there's the distortion in our mind which is created by these beliefs. And then these barriers are the things that hold us back. We are not certain about our own capabilities. Now, what I would say that barriers are formed through patterns of behavior. Why do I believe in this? Because that's the behavior that is being taught to us. As a child, we are taught to behave in a certain way. Maybe a girl or a boy, whoever he or she is, they are taught to behave in a certain way, to not to be too vocal about your feelings, not to be too vocal about your dislikings or something that you don't believe in. So, as a child who has been brought up in this kind of an environment, definitely will have so many patterns of thought, so many negative barriers, or some things that hold him back. So, these behaviors they exist to protect us from getting hurt, actually, but can produce barriers. So, while we have to understand that our behaviors are supposed to be made for the community, but then those behaviors should not become a barrier for us. Why do these things become a barrier? Because when we listen to others more than we listen to ourselves, so what we do, we are giving ourselves something that is not for us. It is developed, or it has been accepted by someone else, what you are. So somebody is thinking about you, what you are, but actually in a way you're not what they think about you. So it's very essential, very important for us to believe in our own self, and we have to believe in our own worth. So when we stop doing that, that's the time when we are creating barriers. Then I would like to tell you there are many barriers that we have, like social barriers, psychological barriers, or environmental barriers. So I'll be talking about the psychological barriers here, because what I think that psychology plays a big role in developing our barriers in life to success. So here I would like to tell you that first of all, what we think about ourselves. So, having self doubt is the first barrier that I feel that should be taken care of. What is it that holds you back? It is the internal belief of a person that holds the emotions, the opinions, and everything that you are worried about. That will be something that will create self doubt. And unconsciously you're creating something inside you which is very unhealthy or incorrect. So that thought pattern should be changed. That fear that fear that something will go wrong if I take a step. You want to achieve something, you have a goal in front of you, but if you have a self doubt about yourself, whether you'll be able to achieve that goal, that fear, those thoughts that create unconsciously, but they become your barrier. Then, if we come to this negative attitude that I have put up in the second frame, it's just about the attitude which has been set inside you, the attitude which the society has created, where you are staying or where you have been brought up, or the people around you, the environment for which the changes you resist to the change that you want to go ahead, but there is something that you need to change for that. going ahead, taking a step ahead. You need to change that. When you have this kind of a mindset where you just keep on thinking that no, even if I take one step, maybe the other step would be difficult for me. So those are the barriers that come with a negative attitude. And false assumptions, I've put up here false assumptions about the environment, assumptions about these false assumptions that someone or somebody will hurt you, take advantage of you, or maybe will mislead you, or something will go wrong. If you're thinking that about this thing going wrong always, then this kind of an attitude becomes a barrier. Then the fear and depression that comes along when you're not satisfied with whatever you're doing. There's something that you want to do, something other than what you're doing. There's something else that you want to do, but then you're not able to take that first step out of the barrier. You can't break the barrier. Then depression sets in. Then self centered attitude, where you always think that maybe if you're always thinking about your own self, then it's like you have to take a step, go forward towards your goal, but then again you take a step back because you'll think what the other person is going to think about me if I do this. There are so many things that the people are going to say, good or bad, about you, but then again, getting that kind of an attitude, you have to break that barrier. And that's the time when you create a psychological distance from the community. Psychological distance comes in from your barriers towards your goal. So you're distancing yourself psychologically. Then comes the emotional stability. That is a very important role that plays in your breaking your barriers and overcoming this. You have to learn how to stay stable emotionally. That is very, very important. Like if you can't get into effective conversations with people, if you can't get into if you can't trust people with your own plans, with your own things that you want to do, then getting into conversations and then trying to tell somebody else that what you want to do, it won't help if you're emotionally not stable. You have to trust that person. There should be no doubt in your mind about yourself and the other person or the team that you're trying to create to achieve a goal. Then uncertainty about your own goals. You're confused. Maybe you want to do this, you want to do that, but then you have to select something that is where you are very passionate about working towards that goal. And then anger comes in when you are not ready to listen to others, or maybe not taken the advice that has been given to you. A critical person will come and tell you that this is something that you're doing wrong, or this is something that you're not supposed to do. So then being impatient doesn't help. I mean, you have to be patient, and you have to give a listening ear to what others say, and then you take ahead whatever you're thinking of doing. That barrier you have to break. Like if you're emotionally not stable, then again it creates a barrier. So in that way, emotional stability is again a very important barrier that you have to check into. Then what are the other barriers that come into this towards the journey of success? See, everything needs to be there from your side. You are capable of doing so many things, but then you have to focus on one thing that you want to follow, and you really know that that goal is achievable. You know how capable you are, you know your resources, you know what you want to do with it, the end game, the end result, what it should be. So when there's lack of focus, it creates a barrier. Then lack of ownership. You have to take ownership of the things that you have done. You can't take, I mean, you just can't say ki, no, if there's a mistake, then you have to take it upon you that okay, I have done something, That's not proper, but I know I should learn from this and then go ahead. So taking up ownership of the things that you can do or you can't do, that is another barrier, lack of ownership. Then there is another one, then too much of planning. That is also a barrier in your success. Too much of planning will lead you to only planning, not implementation of the plan thing. So too much of thinking, too much of planning will again take you some time to do what you want. So that is also, I mean, you have to keep a balance in planning and implementation, both of them. Then another barrier is lack of assertiveness. See, if you really know that you can do something, you have to stand up for that. And that's what I have done in my life. I knew that as an engineer, switching my roles in the society, I had to take a step where I had to tell everyone ki I want to do something for the society. And then I'm capable of doing this, managing my engineering field also and managing my organization work also. So that assertiveness should be there. You should be very assertive while telling your roles to the society, to the community, to the family, and whoever you're working with. Then another barrier is lack of planning and time management. That is also a very important thing. So you have to plan and time management. How you plan and how you manage your time. That is also very important. Then another barrier is created, poor communication skill. That is how you just there's something that you can't communicate to people when you really want to work with a group. So when you're working in a team, then the atmosphere gets toxic if your communication is not good, if you're not able to tell the other people or the employees or other channels that you're ready to work together and this is how you plan to do it. But if there is something that someone wants to convey to you, then they should be able to come to you. So you should be able to reach out to people and vice versa. I mean, that should be coming also. Others should be able to reach out to you also to tell you that these things are not working properly. We need to maybe do this. So you have to be open. Then another barrier comes in the working individually. See, if you want to do something, you can do it all alone, you know it. But working as a community, that I started working in the community for the poor children, for the poor ladies, for education and for giving them a sustainable livelihood skill. So during that time, I needed a team, and that team was actually formed, taking into consideration that I can't work all alone. I need to work with the team. So working individually won't be possible. So there is this barrier that you have to break. It's all right that you know that what you want to do, but then you have to form a team and work towards achieving a goal. Then the other barrier comes when the people working or you yourself, when you're working and not getting enough rewards in the sense that means that you're not achieving your goals maybe, but maybe you are moving there slowly, okay, towards your goal. But that should not demotivate you. Don't let that thing get into your mind that I'm not getting any result. Why you're not getting results? You have to work on that. It's not that result or that reward, if it's not coming back to you, that should not be demotivating. You have to learn, keep on learning. And there is something that you have to do each and every time: analyze what you have been doing. Always go back and see what you have been doing, why it is not turning out good. So that's how we do it. And then pride, arrogance, and ego are these things that come automatically to a human being. Okay, we as humans are all having these traits in our own. As a human person, we have this inside us, so we need to overcome this barrier also. Let not anything get into these the journey towards success. So there are these things that you need to take care of. Now, how do we overcome? I have stated the psychological barriers here. that I have experienced through my journey, that these are the things that I had to overcome. So how do I overcome these things are very important as students, as professionals, and working in a community. That's what I have developed myself. Like, I went into my own development, I went into my own growth. I had to do this because these things are changeable. We need to change inside us, and that is what I did. So my personal development and internal growth was very essential for me to come out as a successful person in the community, to help people, to find ways to help people. So what I did, I started taking whatever I have done. I For the consequences, I was responsible for that. It made me more responsible. Then I identified and accepted my mistakes as a learning process. That is very important because you have to identify where something is not going properly in the right direction. If you're moving, but whether you're moving in the right direction or not. If you're not moving in the right direction, then the journey has to start again. And then you have to learn through this process. That is very important. Then self management, of course, you have to manage your own self. You have to take away so many negative thoughts out of your mind. You have to be constantly diligently follow your routine. And then self realization also is very important. You have to understand what is the emotional state that you're going through. If there is something that is disturbing you, someone that is not working according to you when you have a team, or then you have to be you have to take a stand somewhere. You have to disassociate with the situation, and you have to emotionally make yourself stable for some time, and then go ahead with the plan, or maybe consider doing what you are doing, whether it's right or wrong. Then the same thing happens with your thoughts. You have to collect your thoughts. If you're angry in the situation, or if you're frustrated with someone, then the journey itself takes you through so many emotions that you have to overcome. Then you have to understand what the other person is trying to say, or where the situation is leading you. And in that, you have to accept your imperfections. See, we are not perfect. We are all imperfect human beings. There, we are not someone who has everything in us. There are so many things that we have to take care of. So this is something that you have to accept and try to redefine yourself. By doing relaxation techniques, we can manage our anxiety. By doing meditation, and there are so many things that we can cultivate our strengths. We can work through our doubts and fears. We can sit with people who have gone through the same journey. We can discuss things with our mentors. We can discuss things with our friends, with our family. We can cultivate our strength. And then, if you have a definite purpose, I believe that I have done this. I had a purpose in life and I wanted to follow it. So, whatever I did, it was always directed towards my purpose. And I have seen that acting irrationally or impulsively doesn't give us any kind of result. So, we need to take care of those things also. We need to think clearly and logically. So that is why I say you should keep this very simple. You keep your life very simple. Don't complicate it. It has to be in a routine that you work, okay, but then there should be fun in it. It should not be tiring always. So keep your life. If you want to become a successful person, you have to enjoy the journey, not your destination. You have to enjoy working with people. You have to enjoy what you're doing, and you have to have fun in between. Otherwise, your life will be only the destination. You won't remember those people. You won't remember who has accompanied you. You won't remember who has given you that push when you needed it. So just keep your life very simple. Sleep, meditate, do it on your own, exercise for some time, that is very, very important. Walk, take a walk when you feel that you are going out of solution. Just take a walk. There are so many things that come to your mind when you're walking down the street. Then stay physically, mentally, and emotionally healthy. Because physically, if you're not healthy or if you're not taking care of your physical state, then mentally also you'll be disturbed. And when mental disturbances occur, then emotionally we get upset. So there are so many things that just fall into this physical, mental, and emotional health of yours. If you keep these three things stable, then everything will fall into place. Then, if we see about these, I have talked about the psychological barriers, but these are also some barriers that I would talk about here. There are social barriers. So, social barriers are automatically there in our society. We don't have to, I mean, we feel it, we can feel it. We don't have to look for it or search for these things, where you can see that any wealthy person can have can think of achieving his goals more easily, but maybe a poor person, or maybe someone in who doesn't have that kind of financial security, won't be able to do that properly. So social barriers occur due to wealth and importance in the world. How important are you around your surroundings? How important are you for your teammates? So it depends upon that. Then comes the education. If you're highly educated, if you have gone through a good education system, if you know what you do, then it will of course help you. But then if you are an illiterate person, you don't have any facilities to education, through take you through education, then it's difficult for that kind of a child to achieve his goal. That kind of a student who won't be able to achieve those goals, compared to the person who has this already given to him. And then of course your family background. So these are the social barriers that I feel that are always there. They are visible, they are invisible, but they are always there. And then lack of awareness. Why would I say lack of awareness of cultural ignorance and underdeveloped diversity consciousness? What I mean here is, see, when we are working together as a team, maybe there's somebody who speaks a different language, who's coming from a different country, who's coming from a different background. So maybe I'm not aware of his culture, I'm not aware of his linguistic barriers. So what I do, that social barriers come automatically between people who want to achieve their goals. Then this also includes our personal biases and discriminatory behavior that we do. There's so much of this going on in the society. So in the community when I work together, so I feel that there are so many social barriers, that a person from this kind of a background will only have this kind of an education. That's what we take into account. But when I see underprivileged children who need education, but they can't afford education because they don't belong to that kind of a community or that society, or their socio-economic status is not of that they can afford to go to schools, they can't afford to have a school bag, they can't afford to have something. So I am that kind of a person who has seen this thing going on in the social circuit. So that is a barrier which is being that a child is surrounded with that kind of a barrier because of the uh, economic status that he holds in the society. And then of course there are perceptions, thoughts, and actions of others. There are so many actions that we see that others are doing. The perceptions that they have about certain community, those, these are minorities, these are the tribal people, these are those. So there are so many community barriers. The perceptions that we form, these also create barriers to success. And then there comes this religion and gender. Of course, religion and gender is another social kind of a barrier which is very, very much there. Then there are social barriers which are created by the culture of the community. See, culture, what I mean about the culture, in India we have so many cultures that we experience. See, from south to north, from west to east, there are so many different cultures that we coexist together. So when we talk about culture in the community, every culture has a different kind of a social status, different kind of a practice, different kind of practices. For girls, someone is not allowed to show skin, someone is not allowed to go to school, somebody is not allowed to wear certain kind of clothes. And so these cultures, they create a barrier for that girl who is not able to maybe realize her dreams. If she wants to become a singer, maybe the community won't allow her to sing, because singing in public is not allowed in her culture. So that is an example that we have in our society here. And then a girl who is coming from very high society, maybe a very wealthy, a very rich kind of a girl, she won't be allowed to work for a lower community, or a lower society, or a lower caste person will not be allowed to work with this kind of a girl. So there are so many things that go through. It's not about only the girl, maybe the boys are also in that kind of a community, where they are not able to realize their goals or realize their dreams because of the culture of the community that they come from. So these social barriers are influenced by the behavior of the people. Behavior of the people in the sense how others are behaving with you. That's how you develop your behavior. You start thinking about yourself. So these are the barriers that you don't have to get influenced by the behavior of the other people. You have to break those barriers here. What I think how do we overcome these social barriers? It's very important to understand that in a community you have to be involved with all the communities, you have to be involved with all the members if you really want to do something socially, because that's what I have been doing. We have so many religions here in India, and in Mumbai, especially where I stay, we have so many religions, so many different cultures that we follow, and all the community work that I do is involving everyone into it. It's not like segregating one community, segregating one religion. So what I do is I involve all the community people in the work. That is how we start breaking those social barriers, start breaking those, a small step towards letting them accept the cultural differences. And that's how I do it. I also started accepting the cultural differences that were around my community, and that's how I started people to open up. And then I made them understand that you have to keep your mind open when you work in the community. When you are in the community, you have to accept the cultural differences and keep your mind open, just to learn things, learn what the other people are going through. And then there's very important is the language, because every state that we have here, we have so many states here in India, so every state has a different language that we speak here. So that language has to be taken care of. There are some slangs that are used, there are some things. So even if by mistake, if you're casually uttering a slang, so maybe that is of I mean, the people get offended because they don't understand that there is some linguistic barrier between us. So these are the things how we need to overcome them. We have to be very careful when we use languages. We have to understand what the other person is going to feel about their culture. We have to involve them in the community so that everyone can work together. That's how overcoming social barriers should be like. See, if you choose who you work with, it's very personal thing. If you want to set a goal, and like I had a goal to work in the community, so I knew how I have to work with my people out there. And it's very important that you choose your own people. And you have to meet so many people. If you want to get success, you need a good network of good people. So I always say that your network is your net worth. If you're good in networking, of course you will get so many people who will help you out. The community will be there, the resource persons, the stakeholders, and everybody will be there to help you out in achieving your goal, in realizing your goal and achieving what you want to do. So you have to do this. Check every now and then how many new people you have met and how they are working for you and how you are moving towards your goal. How are they very important for you? Are you able to identify those people? Then you have to pick those people and then work with them. And always keep all the channels open for people to reach out to you. There will be some people which you won't be interested in, but then there are, you just have to listen to what they have to say. You won't be interested in sitting and talking loose talk, or maybe you're not interested in something that is not of your concern, but then also just let people talk to you. Sometimes it's good to listen to people who just want to talk to you. Maybe there's a proposal, maybe something will come out of it. Then you should always surround yourself with high achievers. That's what I believe in. Mentors. Why should you do this? Because mentors are very important to guide you, who has done this before. These achievers who have already achieved what they wanted in their life. Maybe won't be so many people around you, but then you have to find, search for them. Just get involved with these people who have achieved something in their life, like you are struggling now, but then there's something that you're looking forward to. So these achievers or these mentors will guide you, will tell you that this is not the proper way to do it like this, or this is something that you're doing good, but add on to this. So there's so many things to learn from achievers and from mentors. So these high achievers who have come up, who have taken a step above you, who are above you, always surround yourself with those people. Then you should be ready to learn, to be different, to learn and innovate, try to do something very different, try to give something different to the community. What everyone else is doing, you don't have to follow them. Take a different path, take a different path, follow that path, and try to be innovative in what you do. Not in the sense of hurting someone, not in the sense of hurting people while you're going, but then be innovative and do something that touches your heart. And always work with a team. That's what I believe, that alone, okay, alone I may be successful, but with a team you're happy. You're happy in a way that you believe that you have brought along people with you. You're not alone in this success story. There are people who need somebody to hold on to in this journey, and then you really are a person where you can give them a support. So do that in your journey to this success. Be with a team who is supportive, a team that is very no, I won't say always a good company, but then yes, of course, where you can work together and you can enjoy also. And it is very essential to follow your goals and let the other person also working with you realize what your objective is. So every stakeholder should be aware of your goals and your objectives. It should not be something that you are just working all alone and then you are just thinking all alone. Let others also know what you want to achieve. So that's how we work together in a social circuit. So these social barriers can be overcome by, I think these are the small tips that I would like to give. Like, that's the key to success. What I believe, that's my personal experience, that I have always set a measurable goal. goal for myself and my co-workers. So what I do, being an engineer, I mean, technically I had to be always technically I had to think that whether this goal is achievable in this and this kind of a period. So that time frame was always given to me, so technically my mind used to work towards that measurable goal. But when I started my foundation and when I started working for the community, what I found out that it's not always possible to achieve your goal, what you had set for you in that time frame. So you have to be flexible sometimes. See, but then you should have that goal which is really reachable. It should be practically possible for you to achieve that. So learn to set a measurable goal. You can overcome all your barriers with it, with your coworkers and with yourself. If you work towards your goal, I'm sure that you'll succeed in whatever you want to do. Then create a positive workspace. That is very important to overcome your invisible barriers, because these invisible barriers are more psychological. They are more engraved inside the mind, inside the brain of that person who's working with you or who is surrounding you out there. So you have to create a positive workspace where you can relate to a person going through something, but then always motivate him, and then that keeps you motivated also. Keep a positive approach for where you can um, have a positive attitude towards moving towards your goals, towards your success. So, positive working space is a key factor for a successful remote working experience. If people are working with you, let them experience a lighter kind of a positive kind of a workspace. Then, what I believe is the most important aspect of overcoming your barriers, invisible barriers, that believe in yourself. That has to be there. You have to believe in yourself. There, your vision you should have a tunnel vision. You should never be distracted from your vision. Like a tunnel, you know that from this darkness now, after going out, you'll see a clear sky. Out of this tunnel, there's light out there, you know. But then your vision should be like that, that you have to cross the tunnel towards the success, towards the light of success. And I believe that that is the most important barrier that you have to overcome is yourself. If you can overcome this barrier, you take your risks, be confident, super confident, do something that is very dear to your heart, do something that is you are very passionate about. It's all about taking a step, a slow step, but then also towards your success you can do that. So what I believe is, you will feel the fear, but you have to do it. And that is how I would like to end my presentation here. I believe that your work begins from here. That's what I would like to tell you all, that you have to remain focused. You have to be um, very sure about yourself. So believe in yourself. Whatever you're doing, even if you're achieving something very small, try to celebrate that. Give yourself some kind of a reward, something that will keep you motivated. If your team is achieving something, just give them some kind of appreciation, give them small gifts, or give them some appreciation letters or certificates or something like that to keep them motivated, so that these barriers will be overcome. Okay, so thank you, dear all. And uh, I would now like to hand it over to our Mehribit. Hello.
Okay, engineer, that was actually very interesting, enlightening, and inspiring discussion. I would like to read here some comments of our audience while you were talking. I
Yeah.
think this is something that I should share to you and also to our audience.
Yes.
According to Manolita Ramos Aligo, your self worth is how you value yourself. It's not based on what others think of
Yes.
you or others or the things you have or haven't accomplished. It comes from within you. Know
Yes.
yourself. Another
Yes.
thing, also from Manolita, still from Manolita Ramos Aligo, our self worth is what we think, feel, and believe about ourselves. When we recognize that we are valuable human being, worthy of love and respect.
Very
I think
true.
they, yes, I think they were able to grasp the topic that you are telling them. It is
Yes.
about the self worth, ma'am.
It's
And
about,
one thing,
yeah.
yes, overcoming the barriers that have been set to us in front of us, the negative experiences, the past experiences, and also the opinion of others are those are barriers that we should overcome.
Yeah.
And then we can overcome it by believing in our own self and believing in our own worth. That
Yeah.
was really inspiring. Ma'am Kavita, Engineer Kavita, thank
Yeah.
you so much for
Yeah.
all the knowledge that you have shared to us tonight. And we will see you again in our Q&A part. Okay?
Yeah. Yes, I'm
Okay,
here.
thank you so
Take care.
much, Ma'am
Thank you.
Kavita. Okay, to further talk about overcoming invisible barriers to success, let us welcome our second keynote speaker. She is an inspirational speaker and a poet, an award winning author, an influencer, and a humanitarian. Let us welcome with virtual round of applause our second speaker, none other than Ambassador Lynn Hill from South Africa.
Good
Hello.
afternoon, and thank you so much, Mary Beth, for the introduction. Thank you to the Institute for Global Professionals for hosting me this afternoon. I'm indeed humbled and honored, and I would love to share. Unfortunately, I'm unable to access my PowerPoint, but certainly not going to be compromising my message in any way. And the topic is overcoming invisible barriers to success. I believe that we can only conquer what we name. And so, in providing the solution, we actually need to name the challenge. And if we are unconscious of the barriers that we are facing, there is no way that we're actually going to be able to overcome it. And so, it's for this reason that I've chosen to focus on naming three unconscious barriers that are generated at an unconscious level and providing the three solutions to those respective barriers. Finally, as the final part of my presentation, I will be looking at various intelligences that certainly speaks to us overcoming both invisible and visible boundaries and barriers. The first barrier is incongruence and inconsistency. And most times we are not even aware that we are being incongruous and inconsistent. So, what is the solution here? The solution is to overcome the above by becoming super conscious of not only understanding the concept of integrity, but internalizing it to a very, very deep degree. What does integrity have to do with success? Are we in agreement that we cannot succeed on our own? Are we in agreement that we cannot define success in the absence of connection with others? In fact, the word integrity comes from the Latin word integer, and integer means whole or complete. And completion in this regard is really the coming full circle, a circle of congruence, I call it, between what we say, what we do, how we say it, and how we stick to what we say we are going to do. So is there a congruence between my thoughts, my deeds, my actions and what I'm putting out there and what I want to put out there? Is there congruence between my verbal messages with my non-verbal messages? Is what I say aligned to what I am meaning? I absolutely, absolutely love Stephen Covey's take on integrity. He reduces it to 2 words, and this is so mind-blowing. He calls integrity promise keeping. And this afternoon, I want to challenge you and ask you, do you keep the promises that you make to yourself? And I'm asking you this in relation to a broader notion of success for this reason, that we need to get it right on the inside before we get it right on the outside. And Covey says that private victory precedes public victory, and truly, truly, that definitely is the case. So how many promises do you make to yourself that you don't keep? And chances are, if you're not keeping the promises you're making to yourself, chances are that you're actually not keeping those very promises with others. The other component of integrity is honesty. And again, I challenge you, how brutally self-honest are you prepared to be, to encompass all of you, to look at yourself developmentally, and to take actionable steps to increase your levels of standards by which you live? And so you could be asking me, what does integrity have to do with success, Lynn? And I said earlier that connection is so important. So let's join the dots. When I am consistently congruent, when my thoughts, my words, my deeds begin to amount to a level of credibility, because I am constantly keeping my word. I'm constantly congruent between what I am promising and what I am keeping. And ultimately, when I do this, my character gets developed to a degree that it becomes reputable. And when my character becomes reputable, and when I get known, because we can also be remembered for the wrong things. So when we consistently get remembered for the right things, that is when our character is becoming positively reputable, and that is inseparable from credibility. And when I am able to consistently build credibility, guess what? I am then proving that I am trustworthy. And when I consistently prove my trustworthiness, others are going to want to authentically connect with me, not because they have to or because I've got a title, but because they choose to make that authentic connection. There are many, many takes on success, and I believe each definition is relative to our own journey. But the one thing that I do want to state is that success, and the definition in the 21st century, certainly cannot not encompass authentic connection. It cannot not encompass impact, influence, and inspiration. And this then takes the traditional notion of success and builds it to a positioning of significance. So it's not simply about the barriers and invisible barriers that stand in my way of becoming successful. It truly then is the invisible barriers that stand in my way of becoming significantly successful, i.e., knowing that I am making a difference in this world. And so if we are not contributing to others' lives in the pursuit of our success, and if we're being competitive rather than collaborative, if we are adopting a I win and I know it all and you lose and you know less, when we are there, we are stuck in an archaic traditional notion of success that serves only our egos. We will never ever reach a level of significance, which is true success, if we are not significantly succeeding. Another invisible barrier to success is getting lost in the crowd. And what I mean by this is that Getting lost in the crowd means that we unconsciously get drawn to mediocrity. Aristotle said we are what we continually do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act, but a habit. And I don't believe any one of us, certainly not one of us here today, wakes up in the morning and chooses and says, hey, today I'm choosing to be very, very mediocre. So how do we unconsciously get to adopt mediocrity? We do it in the following ways. We do it when we normalize our previous standards of excellence for too long a prolonged time. We do it when we become over-attached and complacent in our current levels of competence. And when those very level of competence gets respected, it unconsciously invites us to remain in a comfort zone and to become over-attached to the illusion of respect and security in that zone. Unconsciously, we fear the unknown, the risk that lives there, and the potential to fail that actually is inside of it. So what is the solution here? The solution is to pursue excellence consciously, and to not only make it a habit, but to make it a way of life. And you do this by doing it relentlessly. Excellence is a principle, and every single principle is inarguable and non-contextual. It therefore calls us to ultimately internally driven standards in whichever role we step into, at whichever time of the day we step into it. Excellence therefore invites us every single moment to transcend mediocrity. And the definition of transcend, if we break it down into two bits, the trans is to move beyond, the sender is to go higher. So we need to become conscious of not just how high we want to go, but to what degree we are sitting in a space of comfort, to what degree we are entertaining consciously and unconsciously our comfort zones. So we need to become then conscious of our zones of comfort. We need to become excellent in all of our roles, because excellence is a principle. We need to give it our all. And one of the ways I know that I have given any moment, any presentation, anything I write my all, is when I actually feel empty on the inside, when there actually is nothing more to give. And I always use that as a measurement of that has given, it's been my best. And when we give our best, we've also got to remember, because perfection is also an invisible challenge, that perfection is an illusion. And we don't have to be perfect. We just have to be authentic in all of our roles, giving our best all of the time. I sometimes get asked this in coaching, and they say to me, Lynn, but that's not fair. If I'm giving my best and I'm pursuing excellence, guess what's happening? My boss is actually taking all of the credit, and this is, it's my work, and I'm getting so tired of it. And my response in those moments are, no, dear, no. You are rehearsing for the next level to which you will be divinely promoted. Because guess what? One of my hashtags is, it is all quantum. So the quality of energy that we are putting into every single moment, when it comes from a pure space, purity of intention, to simply be our best, give our best, and bring our best into every moment, then the universal law of karma and of giving and receiving certainly is going to reward us. And how does the reward happen? Our energy then actually gets translated into relevant opportunities that will come our way, that we will attract by virtue of the excellence and the vibrational frequency that excellence carries, that we are emitting, because we attract whatever we emit. So it's never about the boss and doing someone else a favor. What you're really doing is you are preparing yourself for next level stuff. And it is the next level stuff through that preparation that you are attracting into your life. The third invisible barrier to success is becoming over-attached to the notions of perceptual limitations and a lack of resources. And my sister Kivita had mentioned this. In fact, she went further to say that the barriers are invisible because actually there are no barriers. If there was one slide that I needed you to see, and I need you to close your eyes and I need you to imagine this. I need you to imagine someone on a bicycle with only half his limbs. He only has a left hand and he only has a left leg. He has no right hand and no right leg. But he's not just only on a bicycle, he's actually racing on his bicycle. And so when we look at this slide, and when I looked at it for the first time, the first word that came to my mind was non-limitation. There are no limits, unlimited, that we as what we think and allow to be limited or unlimited is only as powerful as our thoughts and our thinking about a perceptual limitation is. In this case, this wasn't a perceptual limitation just through one's lenses. It was a real limitation that was being superseded. It was being transcended. It was stating the non-obvious. And this is what transcendence does. Transcendence states the non-obvious. And in this case, the non-obvious was how possibly does someone with 50% of the required limbs by virtue only of resilience and mindset achieve 250% results. I tell you how. I might not be limbless, but I've had so many real barriers come at me in my life. And I stand here today on the same grounds that I'm about to share this with you. It boils down to consistency of effort, because consistency of effort builds character if those efforts are efforts of excellence. It boils down to commitment to the dream. The only time we do not fulfill our dreams and our visions is because we don't want it badly enough. Excuse finding, limited thinking, and anything that became a barrier that stood in my way of not achieving in my life. And I sit here and I speak to you and I address invisible barriers to success as a multiple rape survivor, an abuse survivor, someone who has survived quite a bit of trauma in her life, but who refused, and our previous speaker has mentioned this as well, where one of our invisible barriers is also an over-attachment to our limited past historical autobiographies. I believe that our stories don't define us, but our responses to our stories do. So commitment to the dream, the only time we don't get it is when we don't want it badly enough, or when the timing is not right. But how dare we give up at any single point, particularly if our goals are not only there, but if they're there because they carry a purpose that has value for not only ourselves, but for those around us. Connection. So it takes mind-blowing discipline. It takes moments of mental and physical discomfort. We come from a traditional negative scripting where from a very young age we taught about lack. We taught about what we don't have. We taught to almost exaggerate a lack of external resourcefulness or resources all of the time, to a point that we forget what we're sitting with, and what we're sitting with is the most unlimited and infinite of all resources, and that is you are your greatest internal resource. Your gifts, your talents, your intrinsic genius, nobody else possesses. And one of my mantras in the absence of very many days and very many years in my life, when I had nothing, and I mean nothing as a single mom, except my dreams, The only thing I would do is say the following: in this moment, I will choose to do that which I can with that which I have. And I did it so repeatedly that inner resourcefulness, pretty much like excellence, became a pretty rehearsed attribute until you own it in a way and it becomes a way of life. So do what you can with what you have in any single moment, and you will be rewarded. And even if it is only that you can give of yourself in that moment, you will still be rewarded. Because the more you give, the more you're going to be receiving. And so the other thing, when I looked at this cyclist with 50% of his limbs, who's now become a world-renowned racing cyclist, other than the word non-limitation that came to me, this phrase came to me: there are just simply no excuses for not achieving what we set our hearts and minds to do. And as I said earlier, it's really how badly we want anything. I don't believe that we can overcome the invisible and the visible challenges without the following. And the following is heart intelligence, heart sex. We cannot overcome not only invisible challenges, but anything in the absence of courage. And courage is a byproduct of passion. And passion is birthed inside of our hearts. And it takes courage to step into fear. It takes courage to step into the unknown. It takes courage to ask for feedback, even if you don't know what feedback is going to come at you. But if it feeds into escalated, internally driven standards of excellence, what have you got to lose? The other intelligence is the soul set, the spiritual intelligence. In the absence of adopting through all of this a spirit of humility and invincibility, we will not be able to step into our authentic power. And when we cannot step into our authentic power, we will not be able to sustain the connections that we require to impact and influence this world. And when we combine our heart intelligence and our soul intelligence with discipline, with focus, with absolute articulated, razor-sharp efforts that moves us towards that particular vision, with single-minded, Deepak calls it, Deepak Chopra, single-minded intentional focus. When we combine all of these intelligences, we really equip ourselves to not go for our dreams, but to hunt them down. And there is no excuse for not getting them, for not achieving them. And so I pray that you've been a little moved, slightly moved, to be challenged in this moment, to ask yourself, hey, am I operating from standards of excellence, or have I become over-attached to comfort? Am I operating from a place of congruence and consistency? Or do I break just the promises I even make to myself? Last but not least, there is no way we can achieve success with a mediocre mindset. And there is no way that we can not only just achieve success, but go from success to significance, to greatness, without sharing our skills, ourselves. And my last challenge is, why do you want to become successful? What is it that you actually do want to do with your success? And if it has nothing to do with the upliftment of this planet and humanity, and if it still has to do only with you winning your race and competing against others instead of collaborating, if it has to do with you needing to prove that you are better by virtue of your title or your social status, that is not the all encompassing success that this world particularly needs right now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Lynn, for sparing your valuable time and sharing your knowledge to us tonight. We are so privileged to have with you today. I would like to read two comments from our audience. According to Arlene Rivera, the topic tonight is very interesting as it gives me ideas on how to conquer my own self doubts as well as my fears. The speakers deserve round of applause. Oh, so they are giving you round of applause, ma'am. And another from Ida Ramirez Martinez, it is knowing ourselves and being authentic that we will be able to conquer our invisible barriers. Well, to tell you honestly, your topic today is very interesting and will be valuable to all our audience. We have learned a lot from you tonight or today. Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. We'll see you again later in the Q&A part of the program.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. To my dear audience, let me remind you, don't forget to like, share, tag your friends, and write comments. Remember that your attachment encourages us to do better and provide you with our best service. We will give you the e-certificate link in the comment box. And if you encounter any problem, you can collect your e-certificate direct from our website, that is www.eduigp.com. Again, that is www.eduigp.com. Then after collecting your e-certificate, don't forget to celebrate with IGP by your check-in. And I am so sorry to inform everyone that we will not have our quiz competition for today. So we will proceed right away to the Q&A part of the program. After the short video, you may now start sending your questions. Okay, please enjoy watching this short video. Let's welcome back our speakers, Ambassador Lynn Hill from South Africa, and we have Engineer Kavita Handik from India. Okay, please start sending your questions now. Okay, let's see if we have questions. Okay. While waiting for the questions, I would like to read another comment from our audience a while ago. According to Manolito Ramos Oligo, if we truly know ourselves, we are thankful for the challenging people in our lives because we see them as opportunities to learn more about ourselves. We take heart in seeing the positive and negative in others because we see those things in ourselves as well. Okay, so do we have questions now? Okay, our first question is from Sir Lamberto Pilatan. Good day, Sir Lamberto. Good evening, moms. Why is it that invisible barriers in our life are harder to overcome and conquer compared to visible ones? Thanks. Ambassador, would you like to answer first?
Certainly, I think that it's actually for the very reason that because they are invisible, we're not pretty conscious about them. So we can't see them. And again, whatever we can't see, if we have not reached a certain level of self-awareness, we're not going to be able to know that they are actually there. And so we can only conquer what we know. Yeah.
Engineer, would you like to add something on that?
Yeah. Uh, I would like to say that it's very important to identify and accept something, that kind of a barrier that is in us. That's why those invisible barriers, that's what our sister here, Lynn, said, that because they are not visible, we need to understand that there is something inside us. So we need to identify and accept.
Okay, that's great. We need to identify and then accept. Our second question is from Bernardo R. Guevara Jr. To Engineer Kavita. My dream is to be a school head, but I'm hesitant to lead. How can I overcome this? Thank you.
Okay. Here, since if you are already there in the school, if you want to become a head of the school, then you have to take a step towards knowing how others are working towards achieving this, those who have already done this. So you should first start the process of learning something which you want to achieve. So maybe you can talk to those people who have already been there, what is the procedure, and practically then going towards and following those steps. And then it has to be a very passionate decision from your side, because that school has to be headed by a responsible person. Then you have to be very responsible for all the decisions that you're taking, and you have to take it ahead. So yeah, you have to do that.
Yes, and also a while ago, I remember that you shared to us that we need to surround ourselves with high achievers.
Yes, that's what I meant. We need always we need to discuss things when we are not all alone. We are not going to stand there all alone
Yes.
and achieve success. It's not like that. To achieving a goal, we need to discuss, we need to plan things with people, and then these achievers who have already achieved that place, they are there to guide us.
Okay, let's see. One of the comments here, I would like to read a comment from Lamberto Pilatan. Wow, thank you so much for your brilliant answers. Congratulations to both of you and more power. Okay, do we have more questions?
Could I add to the
Yes,
question
sure, ma'am.
about
Yes, sure, ma'am.
wanting to become the school head and being hesitant as a leader? And my advice, my little bit of add on, my 2 cents of advice would be that we don't need to practice skills only in formal settings, and that if you feel hesitant as a leader right now, then take on some additional responsibilities in an informal way, whether it's over a weekend, whether it is through voluntary work, so that you begin to rehearse and you begin to apply the skills in a way that your skills are enhanced And so that hesitancy is really a translation of fear. And
Yeah.
the more we practice something, the more fear diminishes. So I wanted to just say that, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am, for that. Here we are, according to Lamberto Pilatan, just like what I've read a while ago. Wow, thank you so much for your brilliant answers. Congratulations to both of you and
Thank
more
you.
power. I think
Thank you so
I
much.
don't think they have more questions because your talk was really very interesting, enlightening, and I should say fascinating. We have learned a lot from both of you, ma'am. Ambassador Lynn and Engineer Kavita. Thank you so much for being with us here in IGP. Thank you, and we hope to see you again in our upcoming webinars. This is your
Okay.
first time to talk in IGP, but definitely this is not your last time. Do you agree
Thank
with
you
me
so
with
much.
that? Yes, thank you so much. That's actually completes our Q&A part of the program. To all the participants who actively participated in our Q&A part, thank you so much for all the questions that you have asked tonight. I hope you have gained understanding of today's webinar. And to our speakers, Ambassador Lynn Hill and Engineer Kavita Handiga, thank you so much for the knowledge that you have shared tonight. Thank you for the marvelous, wonderful responses that you have given to our audience. And also, thank you for gracing our event today. Thank you so much to both of you.
We
Thank
are
you,
honored to have
ma'am.
been
Okay,
here.
do you have any Ma'am Lynn, do you have any final word or parting word for our audience?
It's going to be one of my quotations, and it reads like this, and it goes, "It takes the same amount of soil to dig a grave than it does to plant a garden. And when I could have been buried, I chose to be planted. And we all have this power to choose how anything affects us, to choose our way." So thank you.
Beautiful. Engineer Kavita,
Yeah.
would you like to give something?
I would just say ki, never give up. Never give up. Whatever you're passionate about, you should never give up. Just believe in yourself. Fear will always be there, but you have to do it anyway. That should be the aim.
Marvelous. Again, thank you for gracing our event today. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
the
Thank you so
knowledge
much.
that you have shared. Thank you, ma'ams. And again, we are looking forward to see you again here in ITP. Thank you.
Thank you.
This has been a very rewarding day because of our inspiring, lovely, and enthusiastic speakers. Well, that concludes our program for today. Reminders, don't forget to collect your e-certificate after the session. You may collect it from our website, that is www.eduigp.com, or through the link mentioned below. And I would like to say that our code yesterday in our 359 webinar entitled Instructional Competencies of Good Teachers is IGP 2863. Our code last night was not given, so I'm giving you the code for last night's webinar, that is IGP 2863. Okay, before we part goodbye, let me thank all of you for being so patient and attentive throughout our session. I am very much grateful to all of you from the bottom of my heart for taking part in today's session. I am confident and positive that you have gained something new in this webinar. The new things that you have picked up and learned today will surely be helpful in your life as well as in your career growth. Participants and viewers, I would like to request all of you to please leave a review of today's session, and please recommend our page to your friends and to your community if you learned something from us today. Also, may I request all the participants and viewers to spread the news about IGP's free international webinar to your friends and to your colleagues. Our code for today is IGP 6435. Again, our code for today is IGP 6435. The topic is overcoming invisible barriers to success. Again, to collect your e-certificate, please go to www.eduigp.com or through the link mentioned below. Make sure to log in to your account, or if you are new, please create an account first, then log in using your account. Click free webinars. Choose today's webinar date and title, and then click the bar enroll now. Once you get enrolled, enter the code IGP6435 and then click the bar get your certificate. Your e-certificate will be auto downloaded to your device. Remember, our code today is IGP 6435. Although the certificate we are receiving have some issues, rest assured that the IGP team is doing its best to address this issue or resolve this problem the soonest possible time. At this point, I would like to congratulate the whole IGP team for another successful live webinar. That's all for today. Keep in mind, all things work together for good to those who love God and to those who are called according to His purpose. We hope to see you all again in our upcoming webinars. Until then, thank you. Face the pandemic with smile, sunshine, warmth, and positivity. Again, this has been your host, Maribeth, from the Philippines, signing off. To God be the glory. Bye, everyone.